This is Legendary Dragons by Jetpack7, probably the best dragon book ever written, at least for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. But it had one major issue, and that is it focuses on legendary dragons. Dragons of very high level, very powerful, that you can use in your game as a villain, an antagonist, or like I do as a very important librarian for a very important library in the Midgard campaign setting. So due to its focus on those legendary dragons, it lacks a bit of content for the lower levels of play for 5th edition. But that is exactly the problem that Jetpack7 is planning to fix with their next book in the Legendary series. Hi there fellow roleplayers and game masters, I'm Mr. Trosk, and today I want to talk about Jetpack7. Now, if you do not know who Jetpack7 is, welcome to the channel. I've been talking about Jetpack7 in the past quite a lot, and for good reason. Jetpack7 is one of those companies that doesn't do a lot of books, but does them really well. As a matter of fact, they don't have a shit ton of books. I only have like 4 or 5 books from them, but every time they do a book, they completely blow me away. One of my favorite books ever from them has to be Gods and Goddesses. They also have a Redux version of this, but I just think this cover is much cooler. So it's all kinds of gods and goddesses and cleric gameplay and subclasses and all of that jazz that you can just plug and play into your 5th edition game. They have a book called Masters and Minions that I love, especially for its cover, because this cover in real life, it really shines and it sits really cool on any shelf. Again, a bunch of masters and their minions, how to use them in your game, to set up encounters, and just like drag them from the book and plug them in your game like there is no tomorrow. All of that stuff, that's where Jetpack7 really shines. Recently they did Blackstone Realms, which I have yet to review on my channel, but I've also written a part of this book myself, so I'm a guest writer for this book, but I have to talk about this later on. But all of that isn't really important right now. That's just to shine a little bit of light on who Jetpack7 is. Legendary Dragons is one of my favorite books of them, because I've always been a fan of themed monster books. You know that I'm a fan of monster books in general. I like bestiaries, I like flipping through them and all of that stuff, but I really liked themed monster books. For Nord games, for example, they have Revenge of the Horde, they have the Dread of the Cursed, where they talk about undead. Revenge of the Horde, they talk about like orcs and trolls and all of that horde type of creatures, and Legendary Dragons does the same thing. But there is a little bit of an issue with Legendary Dragons, and the reason I want to talk about this really quickly is because Jetpack7 right now, out of the blue, completely out of the blue, is doing a Kickstarter for a new book called Legendary Undead. And every issue I have with Legendary Dragons is going to be fixed in Legendary Undead, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. Quick disclaimer, I'm saying that they did this Kickstarter out of the blue, while if you click the link in the description below, you're seeing my face because I did the trailer for the Kickstarter that they did out of the blue. I recorded that last week. They sent me a message last week like, hey, we're doing a new Kickstarter, Legendary Undead. Surprise! Do you want to read the script and do the thing? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then suddenly there's a Kickstarter. So yes, it's really, for me even, out of the blue. And here it is, Legendary Undead for 5th edition. Better undead monsters for your game, undead encounters, backstories, and tactics. Now, there isn't a lot to say about this Kickstarter yet, because normally when I do these videos, I also go into like a preview PDF and all that stuff, but they don't have that right now. They don't have a preview PDF to download on a Kickstarter page. They were looking for $2,000 for this, and they already pledged $9,500 almost dollars. So it's safe to say that the book is coming. And it is Jetpack7, so I trust that the book is coming, and I trust that the book is going to be really good, especially with like 30 more days to go. They're probably going to overfund by even more. So what they are promising, and I just want to go over what they're promising, what the pledge levels are, and why I am excited for this as a consumer of Jetpack7 content, basically, because if there's any brand of books, like any company of books, my top 3 of books that I actually use in my games has to be Kobold Press, Nord Games, and Jetpack7. So for me, this is really excited, especially Undead, because Undead are so awesome if you have books that are on Undead. We're excited to introduce you to Jetpack7's latest supplement, Legendary Undead, because who doesn't want better monsters in their game? Now, if you want to see a familiar face, click the link in the description below. Go to this trailer here because I myself am explaining from a script exactly what this Kickstarter is. So this video you're watching right now is a little bit more like off the cuff, but the other one is like just a script that I got from them. I just read it out loud into the camera. That's just what I do. Where do undead even come from? How were they created? What motivates each type of undead? Now, for me, I've always seen undead as those brainless monsters that had no reason or whatever to exist or to do what they do other than it's just what undead do. And the fact that they don't have any reason for that makes them undead creatures. That's always how I ran them, how I played them, how I thought zombies and skeletons and all that jazz were interesting. It's only after the Dreaded Accursed Bestiary by Nord Games that I started more thinking about undead as more of a hierarchy. And then you have the Empire of the Ghouls by Kobold Press, where you have this entire hierarchy going on, where the ghouls are on top, whatever is on top, and then there's vampires, all that stuff, all of that hierarchy, which is different for every game, but it also has a lot of like the same stuff going on in each game. So it's only after that I started really like using undead more, like smarter undead, and some of the undead know what they're doing, that I started finding that really interesting. And that's why I think this book is going to be really, really interesting. So what they are promising is rich and well-sorted content that doesn't need a lot of prep time, something that Jetpack7 is really good at for Legendary Dragons as well. They are really, really good at plug-and-play content. Plug-and-play content is their strong point. I'm even going to go as far as to say that Blackstorm Realms is a campaign setting. This is a campaign setting that you can also plug and play into your own campaign setting, all that stuff, but I don't think it is their strong point. It is a good book for people who are looking exactly for that, but for me, Jetpack7 books are plug and play content for anybody's game. Every book has something for your game. So there's going to be undead playable options. There's going to be an entire, that's what they're saying. I don't know what they mean by that, but you're going to have the option to be vampire for the entire party. What that exactly means is I don't know what that exactly means, but they're going to have rules for the entire party to be vampires. Does that mean they're going to have a vampire fighters class, a vampire bard class, a vampire wizard class, a vampire barbarian class? I don't think so, but they're going to have a rule set to make that happen, which I think is something that I'm really excited about, and I really can't wait to figure out. Strategy tips and tactics, optimize your undead and strike fear into your players. Detailed legendary undead, not just stats as a generic blurb, but we do the work to enrich each entry. So there are going to be legendary undead, like really high level undead creatures for your players to defeat, like in Legendary Dragons again. But there's also going to be so the lower levels of undead and what they are and where they come from, right? So time-saving info and strategies for new and veteran game masters. While there is a lot of undead monsters available for 5e, many of those do not offer information on how to use them effectively in a game. Absolutely agree on that. Go beyond flavor text and leverage the information and strategy suggestions within to give your game more depth and intrigue. I cannot wait for this just because of that. More information about how to set up encounters, how to set up encounter groups, why those creatures are exactly there. All of that stuff is really interesting, especially for undead, because people often just put undead in a dungeon and they're like, yeah, there's undead in a dungeon. Go figure. Yeah, they're just there, right? So let's look at the pledge levels really quickly, see what a hardcover book costs. Let me see. So there's $18 for PDF and name. Wow, this is what's going on here? So there is skeleton level, retail zombie, earlier riser ghoul, PDF plus name in the book. Oh, so that's an early birds for the PDF. Then there's a normal ghoul, $18 for the PDF. That's actually a pretty good deal. $18 for the PDF. That's a really good deal for a Jetpack7 book, because Jetpack7 books are really, really, really high end. They are AAA in my department. So that's really good. Then if you are quick enough ends the 12th, so tomorrow for me. Includes PDF and hardcover book for $32 or $38. That's really good. That's some good prices. I don't know. Wow. 55 for the PDF, limited edition hardcover book, name of the book, and 2 high quality prints of your choice. Yeah, I think the prices are really, really, really good for a Jetpack 7 book, because Jetpack 7 books are... There's like... And for me, third-party content can be divided up in 3 tiers, basically, right? So there's the S tier, the A tier, and the B tier, and there's of course lower tiers. But like for me, Jetpack 7 sits right there at the S tier with Global Press, Loresmith, Nord Games, all of those people. So yeah, I think paying only, what was it, 38 fucking freaking dollars, $38 for a hardcover and PDF is an insanely good deal. I think that's why they are overfunding by a shit ton. So if you're interested, make sure to check it out. And that's it for Legendary Undead, a book by Jetpack7. So it's going to probably be AAA quality, and they're taking the idea of Legendary Dragons and just doing an Undead version of it, but also adding a ton of lower level gameplay for your game, making the book even more usable, because Legendary Dragons is one of those books that sits on my shelf, and only every now and then when I need something from it, I take it out, and I just don't think it gets the usage it deserves, because it is just really good content. So if you're interested in this one, make sure to click the description link. Do whatever you want to do, and until next video, bye bye.